Alright, CSS battle time. Let's do it. I'll put in the description how things go. This is very similar to yesterday's. Which, actually, I was like 6 characters away from top 10. Which was, that's gratifying. It's good enough for me with that conic gradient approach. But not sure that'll work today. So I could do a border block, on the HTML for this. And then it could be like a linear gradient. But if I do the linear gradient on this, I think it leaks out above and below. Now I could do that same trick I did. I think I could do a conic gradient and get this result. If I did... I think I have to look at it this way. Oh man, that's going to be some tricky maneuvering. I think what it has to be is 75 yellow, 25% that, and you have to not use any at rules, but then just position it so that you get that yellow to overlap below, or only position it down so that the yellow's half. Oof, that seems rough. The only reason I don't like the linear gradient is because of how much work it's going to take to get it to stay within these bounds, right? And then also to see, we'd have to have a border for this, and then we'd have to do either a box shadow or outline to cover over the overlapping linear gradient. It's going to extend outside of the HTML element. We could put it in the body and then it wouldn't. But then we're doing a whole extra background. And then if we do the linear gradient, the easy thing is to take that same value, and then I think we'd have to change the start point and then the width of the first color stop. But actually, I think, oh yeah, we'd have to change the width of the first color stop. But with doing that, we could use margin to shift the start point. So that's not a big deal, because we'd be doing margin anyways. All right. The conic gradient solution, though, will that one work in, if I do the conic gradient here, right, for the HTML, and then I shrink it down, what value or values am I changing to get this bigger block? Because I don't want to write another background, right? And I don't want to have to write a whole box shadow or anything. If I can reuse it, that would be a good solution. Linear gradient, I know I can kind of reuse it with just a variable or something. Or font, even. Alright, let's just start typing. Let's just see what we can do with this. Let's go conic gradient on the HTML and not borrow trouble until we run into it, Let's do that. So we're doing 3/4 yellow. Alright, let's do the blue. Alright, so we have that. Let's, since I have to shrink this down anyways with something, and I'm not, last time I shrunk it down with box shadow, or allowed it to shrink down by adding a box shadow. But I was able to use that box shadow in the body as well and write only the one property. I don't think I'm going to get that kind of cost effectiveness here. So we could do a border of 48 pixels solid. And it'd have to be blue, right? And it just seems like a lot. Now, if I did the linear gradient solution, I'm already having to use border. It's like, but I'm writing a longer gradient. I don't know if I'm writing a longer gradient, really. So 40, and then it's 50 on the top and bottom. So let's go 50. And then we can do -10 margin on the sides. All right. So you see we're having to do margin anyways. It's like I'm having to write, I'm not saving by doing the conic gradient, and I think I'm adding a bunch of extra work. Okay, that's what I needed. All right, so it's sized properly. And what we want is, I think, the @ rule to put the blue at double whatever this border is. So let's do that. Let's go at, let's go 0, just to get it on there, and then 80, comma. All right. Okay. Oh, I know why, because by doing 0 pixels, I put it all the way over. So we gotta go, yeah. So we can't put a vertical one without putting that one in. All right, so let's make it, I think we want to aim for this lower point like that. Now, I think, yeah, I want to make it the size of whatever this bay is. That's what I did yesterday, and that did seem to work. So 100 to 180, yeah, so it's 80 pixels, 80. Because what I'm trying to make right now with this image is the size of our blue square that we're then going to position back here. So, right, if we go 50 pixels, there we go. Yeah, it's maneuvering down. I don't think I did it right, but let's go 50. Okay. 40. There we go. Let's see if we got our window right. Okay, we got the window. Now I just got to figure out the left-right width thing, and that was my challenge yesterday as well. We'll go 100 pixels repeat, and let's look at this. Right, so if we jump it up to 110, oh man, we're so close. Ooh, if we position it 60. See, this is what I did yesterday. Okay, what did I do? 115 and 85. Oh, that's what I did yesterday. Okay, so the beauty of the conic gradient is it gives us our upper bars as well as those. So let's look at the body. Oh, man, yeah, this is not going to go well for the body. Because it's going to put a border on it, right? So we can always isolate that in its own selector and everything. It's just, oops, not all the way up. Not ideal. So let's go ahead and take this thing and make our own selector there. Let's go star, open it. There we go. So we have our background and margin. It's being shared. We're going to have to overwrite margin on the body, so it's fine that that's there. So let's select our body. Right now, it's not getting, oh, we are getting some overlap there because of margin. Let's go 0. There we go. Now the body's the same size as the HTML, so our gradient overlaps. So 2 pixels solid. I just want to see where the body's at while I margin it down. We're gonna drop it down. Let's go 0 on the sides, but then 50, 80, something like that, right? Yeah, that seems right. Okay, let's get rid of this. Now, which one of these am I wanting to change? Not the position. I wonder if it's the width. So if we go to 120 here, okay, so that's that thing. Oh, I think I have to change two values. I think two of them have to change, and at that point, this solution stops being ideal. Because I'd have to do two variables, and that's expensive. All right. Now, last time I was able to make the body solid yellow by changing the vertical positioning with font. And so I could make it solid yellow, shrink it down, margin it down to one of these boxes, and then two box shadows. But that still feels pretty expensive. How do I make the conic gradient the right? I know what I gotta do. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take the whole, instead of trying to change it on that one, let's duplicate it. Now we can change just on the body. So if we do 90, that's not right. Let's do 80, right? And 120. We're close. So that gets the middle one. I didn't get those. This is going to be 55. No. 60. 65. And then we leave this one 15. Nope. 10. No. Oh, okay. So this does need to go to 120 to get the thickness right. And you... Oh, that's the spacing. All right. Let's go up here. Okay. Let's change this back to 115, and I think it might actually be better. Did that do it? That did it. Let's hit submit. Let's just see how far away we are. Okay, so I need to drop that by 10 pixels and up that by 5 pixels. Oh, it's not consistent. Theoretically, we can still do that with font by using char and font size and line height. But I don't see that being very easy. Especially since when I use line height, it doesn't match up with the back end, so I can't use the diff for that. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to write two variables. I'm going to leave it at that, and if you can do something cool with that, go for it. I would love for that to happen. So let's see. We're going to wrap this in a var. What do I want that to be? Yeah, that's good enough. Okay. And then what else did we change? Just this one. 60 to 65 var. I'm just using letters. It can be any letter, and I'm still thinking about variable names. That's pretty funny. All right. And I know that there's a lot of these pixel values that can be cleaned up. I'll do the easy ones. But it's just one of those things where I know this is not going to win because I use two variables. Oh yeah, I know what I need to do. What was that? Okay, that's right. And then dash dash p is 65. what was this one? There it is. Okay. But all these more difficult ones to translate, I'm just gonna leave them instead of chasing it down. It's not worth the time right now to do that. So, but there it is. The conic gradient worked. I think it has some merit. Linear gradient is easier to translate for sure. You know, it'd just be one thing I think changing. Rather than two, and you'd still be writing a border. The background would just be, you'd have two backgrounds, because no, you could write one background. I bet you could totally write one background. You use a font value for the blue so that it overlaps your yellow value in the HTML. And so what you're doing is you write your linear gradient on the HTML. You write a really big, like, you know, it's like 5M, 10M, whatever it is that makes, you know, the blue color stop first and then the yellow, and then you position it to repeat and everything like we did with this gradient, so that you get a, you know, blue box, yellow bar, right? Blue box, yellow bar. And but if the blue color stop is higher than the yellow one will not show up until you shrink it with font. And so what you could do is actually, so HTML, oh yeah, because we were talking about hiding this. HTML could have just a blue background. Would we need a p tag? Because that wouldn't fix. We'd need 3 elements if we're doing chasing that. I got confused there. Still an option, but you'd need 3 elements for that to work. But then you could change everything with no, that limits what you can do. You might be able to fix it with just font as well. Like I was suggesting on this conic gradient, is using one font value like line height or ch, and then m for another one, and then using the 2 inputs in font to adjust both. Okay, did you follow any of that? Did that make sense? Because it probably didn't. Alright, I hope you're having fun with this, and I will catch you later.